Do I get a manicure or go grocery shopping for the week?
I personally lost $250,000 one time. Yeah, guess what? I'm still here.
So today we're going to be taking a look at a couple of clips and seeing if they're a good financial decision, a bad financial decision, or if it's just one of those situations where it is what it is. Because with the current market conditions, it can be really hard to tell sometimes. So let's dive in.
One of my buddies got screwed over so bad purchasing a car. I told him the only way he's getting out of it is by totaling it. I shit you not. I told him to find the nearest tree in the middle of the night and run into it. Let me tell y'all this story. This dude called me and my buddy that had some common sense. He knew we talked about money. We're both very good with money. And he says, man, my high school car, it's a Charger, blew up on me. I'd like to get a new car. He said, what do y'all think, man? What's some cars y'all like? And I said, hey, dude, I got a Corolla. I said, it's a fucking animal. I love my Corolla. It's cheap. It's like $300 a month for a brand new one right off the lot. I was like, it gets like 54 miles a gallon. He goes, yeah, but man, I want something cooler. I said, man, they got like some sport options. Maybe you can go like Camry or something. I was like, even Toyota's got like that little GTR car or whatever it is. I forget the name of it. It's like a nice little sports car. It's like 30 grand, 36 grand. He tells me, he goes, yeah, but I've been looking at some other Chargers and stuff. He's like, I go into the dealership every week and each car I like to make sure the payments are good so I have them run my credit. I said, do what? My other buddy is just silent. I can hear the pain on the other side of the phone because I was feeling the pain. I said, please tell me you're lying, dude. He said, nah, man. I said, hey, I want you to get on Credit Karma. He said, what is that? I said, oh my God, it's as bad as I think. I walked him through how to set up Credit Karma. I shit you not, his credit score started with a number I could count on one hand, not using a couple fingers. Yeah. Like, oh my God. I said, hey, dude, listen. I really need to talk to you man to man. I said, you need to get a used car. You need a used Corolla. Used Ford Focus, Ultima, something. He said, man, I just really can't do that, man. Like, I really like my Charger. He was like, everybody knows me because I drive a Charger. I said, I don't give a fuck what your small town reputation is. You need to get a used car. Your credit score is screwed up and you're not making enough money. He didn't like that answer. He didn't talk to me for another week. My common sense buddy called me the week after. He said, Cody, you got to be sitting down for this shit. I'm interested. I'm like, what is it, dude? He goes, that guy, he bought a car. I said, okay, what is it? Well, he said, it's used. And I said, well, that's good. That's what we told him to do. I said, so what kind of car are we talking about? And then there was silence. I could hear him start laughing and he goes, it's a Hellcat. Oh my God, dude. I couldn't believe what I heard. I said, well, how used is this Hellcat? He said, Cody, it's got 227,000 miles on it. My entire room starts spinning. I'm just like, oh my God. I can already see him getting buried in this car because he's not going to be able to afford anything else. Worst part is, here's the fatality of it. He said, it's 23% interest. Do you hear me? 23% interest. I called the non-common sense friend and I said, hey dude, listen, this is what I'm going to tell you. I said, I love you and I don't want you to fuck up your life this bad. I said, go find a tree in the dark on some random highway. Don't put anybody else in danger and you have to wreck that bitch. He hung up on me.
When it comes to cars, drive what you like, but leave your ego at the door. Don't get into something that you really can't afford just to look cool. 90% of the time too, no one really cares what you drive unless you're in some extremely fraternal friendship group that is really going to bust your chops for what you drive. 90% of the people in your life are not going to give a crap. And it really doesn't matter how cool you look when you're driving around in 23% interest. So if we were to categorize that first one, definitely a poor financial decision. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the video. 96% of you guys are not subscribed. So please consider subscribing for more financial topic videos just like this one. Thanks.
So I need to know where you guys are living that $2,500 a month on rent isn't affordable or makes sense on a 100K salary. I said this and people were like, $2,500 on rent? That's ridiculous. I just don't get it. You guys gotta be living in the Midwest, somewhere down south, because New Jersey, New York, $2,500 a month, good luck finding a studio. But I digress.
This one's probably going to fall into the category of it is what it is. Your cost of living is heavily dictated by what state you live in, if you're in a major metropolitan area, and unfortunately, where some of the highest cost of living areas are is also where most of the well-paying jobs are. So if you're at 100K and you're following the 30% income rule for rent, you're just right there at that line.
Leasing a car is some of the worst financial advice that I have ever heard. And I think it's a psyop that the rich created to keep the poor even poorer. If you're buying a car for the status symbol because you're super rich and you're going to be getting a new Porsche every 2 years, then it makes sense to lease a car. That's why rich people lease cars. Why the fuck would you lease Toyota Camry that's valued at $45,000 when you can buy a Toyota Camry that's a few years old for less than $20,000. And if you don't have enough money to buy it, you just finance it. Cars are depreciating assets. The second you drive a new car off the lot, it loses its value. And you're throwing money away. Like, you're literally throwing money away at this car, and you're gonna have no equity in the car to sell it when you're ready to get a new car, which for most people might be 10 years, 20 years if you have a Camry. And that Camry is still going to be able to get someone from point A to point B. So it's still going to have value.
This one's also going to fall into the category of mixed bag, or it is what it is. Leasing can make sense for your financial situation. It just depends on a lot of different factors. Do you have a very specific amount of miles that you drive, and are you within that threshold? How long is your contract? These are all things to consider when looking at a lease. And you can end up making the numbers work for you. But I think for the average American, I would agree with her. It makes sense to buy a couple years old used car. And she made a good point at the end. For those that choose to and can afford to, cars can be a fun hobby. But for most people, it is a tool to get from point A to point B. A tool that needs to be safe and reliable.
What is one bad financial decision that you regret making in life?
Well, I actually go to college and I pulled out loans, and then I pulled out loans for my apartment, and I put in my savings account, and I spend it whenever I don't have enough money.
Like, you got a personal loan?
Yeah. It's in my bank account right now.
Yeah.
But over the summer I'm not paying for it, but if I run out of money, I pull from that.
Yeah. So you're paying on that personal loan monthly right now?
Yeah.
But what was the amount, if you don't mind?
It was $7,000.
$7,000?
Yeah.
So let me get this straight. You got the personal loan to pay off the student loan, but you didn't pay off the student loan, you're just keeping it to go out.
Okay, no. I use that to pay my rent and college.
Oh, okay. But it was originally supposed to go for the student loan.
Yes. Yeah.
Damn. So what are you gonna do for the student loan now?
Hopefully I get rich and I can pay it off. I don't know.
Yeah, what's plan B? Meet a rich guy?
No, I want to be a doctor. Hopefully I can pay it off myself. I mean, if I meet a rich man, I would love to, but I don't know. I might be the breadwinner. I don't really know.
Taking out loans for personal expenses during school. I actually had a couple of friends in college that did this. To my knowledge, it worked out okay for them. Of course, you end up spending a little bit on interest, but we were in a program that didn't really allow us to have an outside job at the time. It was a fast-paced program where we got our bachelor's degree in 2 years rather than 4. So we were in labs and classes all the time. It really didn't allow for us to have a job at the same time as we had school. So if your parents weren't footing the bill for your rent and other expenses, it was actually a decent option. And at the time, this was about 2019, the interest rates on personal loans were really not too bad. But nowadays, I would be interested to see what those interest rates look like before signing off for a $7,000 personal loan. So it can really depend on your situation, but in general, I'd say probably a bad financial decision.
Buying a brand new car in your 20s might be the dumbest financial decision that you can make. And before people get mad, hear me out. People in their 20s are broke, and that's a stat. That's just what it is. And would agree to a $700 plus car payment every single month. To me, that makes no sense at all. You're literally locking yourself into debt. There's no way out of it. And the worst part about it, it's for something that loses value every single year. And the craziest part about it, most people literally buy new cars to impress other people that do not give a crap about them. Now imagine investing that same car payment into the stock market. It's a $700 investment every single month. You're literally buying assets instead of paying for a liability.
Investing in the stock market instead of a high car payment, I would say that's a great financial decision. It is wild that the average car payment is now up to that around $700 mark. And if you were to invest that amount each month, that is really a significant investment for a young person to make, and could compound greatly if the returns are the same that they have been in the past couple of years for the S&P.
Do I get a manicure or go grocery shopping for the week? Because then not only will my nails be done, but I'll be skinny. So I could reload money onto my laundry card, or I could add a hash brown to my sausage, egg, and cheese bagel. Honestly, my sheets will be good for one more week. I'm gonna need that bagel tomorrow. Let me check to see if anyone owes me money. There was a couple $100 in my Venmo. $6 cold brew from Blank Street. $20 box of Keurig pods that will last me a month. Blank Street, Blank Street. The electric and Wi-Fi bill is due tomorrow. I also have plans to go out to dinner. We'll change the dinner plans to the next day so that I'm not spending all of that money in one day. And then I get paid so it cancels out.
believe they call this girl math. Not much to say about this clip. It's very funny. But this is how a lot of people live their lives. And as funny, silly, haha we can be about these kind of things, at the end of the day, if you compound these actions over the course of months and years, it can really start to put a damper on building wealth. Because as we all know, the earlier you start, the easier it is to build wealth. So if we can nip it in the bud when we're young and kind of get these bad habits out of the way, we are left much better off.
Babe, why do you think Dave Ramsey keeps people poor?
So I think that Dave Ramsey is probably the best person in the world at getting people from broke to neutral, so paying off debt, best in the world. But when it comes to actually building wealth, once you're already at neutral and you have no debt, he's awful at it. It's the worst advice possible. Don't listen to him, because the advice that he gives is if you can't buy it in cash, you can't afford it. But that's not how you build wealth. That's not how you build assets. If I go buy a piece of real estate, I'm putting 20% down, I'm leveraging 80% debt. If I buy a small business, literally like a plumbing company making $1 million a year, I'm not going to buy it $1 million in cash. I'm going to buy it $100,000 down, get $900K in debt. This is how the wealthy actually leverage money to build more money. So eventually you got to kind of graduate from Dave Ramsey to get to the next level. And the reason that Dave can buy commercial real estate in these businesses in cash is because he's making money off of helping you not be broke.
This one is a little bit of a mixed bag. Not every single person who's ever gone into business has gone into debt. There are people who have taken all of the risk up front and not gone into debt. It's definitely more rare, and it can be beneficial to get into debt for a business. I'm not denying that by any means. But of course, there are still people who start up a small business and don't initially take any debt and can become profitable within their first year. It's not impossible. But overall, I would agree with this guy. I think Dave Ramsey serves a very specific purpose, and that is to provide a platform for people who are deep into debt that need to get back to that baseline before they can do anything else.
I think for the middle class to feel like they're thriving again, we often look to two things: cost of living coming down and wages going up. And that's a really interesting place to start, because if everything became cheaper, the money that we're making would feel like it would go further, because prices really should be cheaper. But in order for us to see a meaningful drop in cost of living, that would almost be a crash. And that would mean a lot of people would lose their jobs. A lot of people would be hurting. So are we really going to see the cost of living decrease enough where we feel like we're thriving in? Probably not. We need to root for the prices to come down a little bit, but to have like a 30-50% drop would be a complete and utter disaster. And the second option would be wages going up. But wages going up 5%, great, but that's not really going to help. I'm talking 30, 40, 50%, and our business is just going to automatically say, yeah, shit's expensive, let's raise everyone's income across the board in America by 50%. Probably not. So where does that leave us moving forward? What should we be fighting for? Of course, cost of living going down a little bit. Of course, wages going up, but what else? I think it's changing the tax code. I think at this point, the only way to put money into people's hands, especially folks making $200,000 and less, is changing the tax code. We have to give people, let people keep the money that they're actually earning. We cannot keep being taxed what we're being taxed. I put together a new tax plan that I think is actually passable, and I'm really curious to get your feedback on it. I did it in a long form video. I have a short form here too, but I did it in a long form video so I could go through it in detail. And I'm just really curious if you think these 4 ideas and what I'm eliminating would actually work. So curious to hear your thoughts.
The government may not want you to think it's possible, but we could actually function as a society and as a country without people being taxed so egregiously. And of course, the argument you always run into is, what about the roads? What about education and things like this? Personally, I think the answer is to just tax corporations more. Historically, corporations have always paid more taxes, and it just makes sense mathematically for them to foot the bill. They report record profits every year, yet the average American is the one who ends up hurting. That one's really not about a financial decision though, so nothing to rank. But I just thought I would include it because it was pretty interesting.
I am so far past caring about saving money. I just don't care. Like, the world could blow up tomorrow, hopefully. And you want me to stress about a construct? Like, at some point in human history, some guy just made up money and credit cards, and you want me to stress about that? It's not even real. And then every time I'm like, maybe I should lock in, maybe I should stop spending money, something huge happens. Like today I took my car in, need new tires, $2,000. Who cares? It's not even real money. I don't care. Put it on a credit card and put the $250 perfume that I want on my credit card too. I don't care. The old me would have been like, oh my God, $2,000, what am I gonna do? Now I really, really, truly don't care. Our generation's kind of fucked anyway from the boomers. I'm not gonna buy a house. What the fuck am I saving for? Why would I forego my current happiness for the fake promise of, if you save your money, you can retire at 65. I'm not retiring. I'll probably die before then.
This is an all-time classic cope. I'm gonna be dead before I retire. Or just the lack of empathy. It's self-empathy too. You don't even care about yourself. Like, it's like a too cool for school kind of attitude. I don't need to care about money because I don't even care about myself. And it's really interesting. You have to wonder how much conviction these people actually have in those beliefs. And if once she puts the phone down, if she's like actually stressing about those decisions she made. Obviously on this one, I'm going to rank that as a bad financial decision to be lackadaisical and act like you don't care about money.
You know what no one talks about? If you fuck up, you're gonna be okay. If you lose money, you're gonna be fine. I personally lost $250,000 one time. Yeah, guess what? I'm still here. I'm still fine. Does it hurt? Fuck yeah. Did it suck? Yeah. Do I think about it? Of course. Is it gonna stop me? No. And if you worry about every single deal you do and every dollar you spend, you might not get anywhere. You gotta take the risk. You're gonna be fine. The universe, for some reason, always works out in your favor if you just give it a chance. Good luck.
That one's a little bit Tony Robbins-esque, but I think I get what he's saying. In business, you have to take risks, and sometimes things might not always work out, but that doesn't mean it's the end of the line. It sounds like he took a huge financial loss there, potentially in a real estate deal. Looks like he's got real estate in his tag. And even though it's kind of cheesy, I am kind of a sucker for blind optimism and just being hopeful, push through and persevere. It's kind of the American way. And that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. So if you enjoyed, press like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.